Okay. Welcome to. Okay, sorry.
Come on.
I was gonna try to give you your clap.
Gators. Okay. Welcome to South by Southwest 2026. We are Aaron and Ange of the Bitch Talk podcast, joined by our honorary bitch, John Wildman, editor-in-chief of Films Gone Wild. And in this segment, we are talking about Man and Blondie, a dress-up gang film, which is having its world premiere in the narrative feature competition here at South by Southwest. We're joined by an old friend, actor, writer, producer, stand-up comedian Frankie Quinones. Welcome back to Bitch Talk.
Yeah, what's up, y'all? The homies.
Exactly. Can you introduce the film to our audience, please?
Yeah, well, the film's called Man and Blondie. I'm in a comedy troupe called the Dress Up Gang. We met many moons ago in the San Francisco comedy scene. And then we've been making content. We made it, for a long time. We made a TV show for TBS back in like 2017. And then, then this thing started going. Mark Ankner from Mountaintop Pictures, we have been discussing something for a while. We kind of kept in touch, and then an opportunity came up where he was able to put together some funding to make a feature, So we're like, all right, I ran it by the guys. They were a little bit like, whoa, what? And then, cause it was kind of just like, yeah, let's go, homie, like this is ready, And so, they gave us a budget. We started getting after it, and then, we wrote the movie, and then, shot it, and then, we edited, did some pickups, and got it to a good place, and we're really excited about it. It's cool, man. It's like kind of a long time coming. We've been working together for a long time. It's our first feature, and kind of everything came together. Yeah, and it's good, and we're happy with it. So excited for the world to see it. Yeah. But yeah, it's pretty much a buddy comedy about houseplants. So.
In short.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, this movie's silly, and I mean that in the nicest way possible. Like, we need silliness right now,
Yeah.
And so, but you're tackling some pretty serious subjects: loneliness, like addiction to the internet on our phones. So can you talk about that writing process and trying to wrap that all into this fun buddy comedy about plant story?
Yeah. Well, it's funny because over the pandemic, plant sales went up because people were getting lonely and stuff like that. And then, and obviously, like doom scrolling and all that culture is become a huge thing in society. And so, Corey's characters, like a lot of people are able to work from home now since the pandemic. Like Zoom became a real big thing. And we got Kevin Nealon to play Corey's boss. So he's the authority figure, always on the Zoom, kind of keeping Corey tied up to this, kind of being just kind of stagnant and just like, Corey's apartment's like really bleak, and he always has these Zoom meetings, and he's just like, but I need this promotion, caught up in that life. And then he meets this sort of kind of magical character, but he's committing crimes, actually, Donnie's character, who is breaking into people's houses to water their plants and stuff like that, But yeah, it was like he kind of pulls Corey out of that and gets him in touch with like his environment and nature in general and stuff like that. So I don't know. It was it was cool. I'm sorry, I probably veered off your question, but
You're taking like loneliness and isolation.
Yeah.
In a fun way.
I think right out the gate you get the Corey's that he's isolated like in the beginning. So you and I think a lot of people can relate to that nowadays. So. But and then Donnie kind of brings him out. And then they just kind of go on these adventures. So yeah, I was grateful that the story came together. And then Fox Entertainment Studios is the one who kind of made this thing happen and gave us the money to do it. And they were really happy with it. They're happy with the way it came out. So I'm glad that we're out here like pushing it, and we got it into South by Southwest. That's crazy. Yeah.
When I was watching the film, I was it entertained the hell out of me. But I'm also like watching this going, how in the hell did these guys get this thing made by a studio? Because I'm like, because studios, of course, they're digging into old IPs, and they're wanting to like do things that everybody's seen before. And I'm like going, were these guys in a pitch room, literally pitching Man and Blondie? were they doing that? And so I would love for you to talk about again, especially now that I know that that there's a core troupe here that has worked together, and so literally the story of this was, did you guys workshop it, or did one of you come up with the script and then you guys pitch in? How did you guys do this damn thing?
Yeah. Well, thankfully we have a catalog and an archive of work that we've been doing for years, and then so they were already aware of that. They were fans. you know, Hannah over at Fox Entertainment, her husband was actually a real big Dress Up Gang fan already, and you know, and then Mark Ankner at Mountaintop was able to kind of put us together and connect the dots. So they were already like a fan of the work. You could see our tone and our brand is always, you know, we're always playing it really straight but ridiculous topics, and and they love that. So they were like, we just, you know, we want that. If you guys can come up with something, you know, that could be a feature and have that tone of what you guys do. So they were already aware of like what we do, you know. So it was just like it was kind of just like, you know, if we could come up with some of that. And then we started doing. We already had a kind of a little mini series we started called the Fiddle Leaf, and that's when, you know, Corey has this fiddle leaf, and then Donnie's kind of this mischievous dude who keeps going around kind of harassing him to tell him he's not taking care of his plant correctly.
Because it's finicky.
Yeah, fiddles are finicky.
You're educating us in this film as well.
Yeah.
I learned a lot.
So, you know, yeah. So it was, and it kind of all started because Rob Boardman, who's a writer director, you know, another founding member of the group, he had two fiddles in his living room, right? But one was real scrawny and puny, and the other one was like thriving in the corner, kind of flexing on the little one, making the little one feel. So in our heads, we're like, dude, he's making this little one feel insecure about himself, and we got to do something about this. So we created this whole like kind of storyline in our head just based off these two fiddles that were in Rob's living room where we were working a lot, and then that's what kind of organically led to this story, and then so we kind of just pitched it to you know, Fox Entertainment and Mountain Tower, like, yo, we could turn this into a feature, this whole Fiddle Leaf thing, and then it was like it kind of got some love, and then there was like, even I remember the day when I hit up the guys because the R&B singer Miguel, I don't know, you know,
Yeah.